Okay, Andrew Tate Destroys Feminist. Okay, yeah. All right, let's see this.
There has not been, in the history of humanity, across any culture, any book, any story, any fable, there has never been across the history of humanity any respect put on the name of a promiscuous female, ever. Ever. You name the biggest conquerors that you can possibly name from history.
No respect towards a promiscuous female. Fuck, let me think. Joan of Arc? Okay, I think, yeah, I mean, Cleopatra wasn't promiscuous. I don't know enough about that. Like, that was one of the first people that came to mind, and I didn't know. I mean, the reason why is that there were basically no women that were conquerors back then because it was a massive patriarchy and women are weaker than men. So there are very few women that did anything that were like, that was like super noteworthy back then compared to men. Like, that's the reason why. So it's like, this is true, but it's not true because they're promiscuous. It's true because they're women. Like, that's just how it was back then.
Genghis Khan, Alexander the Great, all of them. They all had 100 wives, bunch of children, Big G, conquered the world. Normal. That is normal evolutionary biology. That's how men are designed to.
Yeah, just a minute. Let me pause back, because I know people are trying to come up with, like, examples, like Boudica, like, people don't even know if she's real. Like, Joan of Arc is a pretty good example, I would say. Queen Victoria, maybe you could say Mary Magdalene. What I'm really trying to say is that you can come up with examples, but think about how many more men examples you can come up with. Like, let's just think about this for 2 seconds. I mean, come on. Like, it's not that there weren't any. It's that they, there weren't any sort of, there were way less. Sylvanas, yeah. One example is enough against an absolute. I think that an intelligent person will know whenever somebody is speaking in terms of generalities and they don't feel the need to assert an exception. Like, everybody knows that there are always exceptions whenever you talk about generalities, and you don't need to bring those up every time the generalization is being used.
They all had 100 wives, bunch of children, Big G, conquered the world. Normal. That is normal evolutionary biology. That's how men are designed to be. There's never been a single female who's been celebrated for her promiscuity ever in history. It's always been frowned upon and disgusting. So yes,
I don't think ever in history is probably a good example. I think, like, you could use Marilyn Monroe as an example or something like that, maybe. It's kind of hard to say, like Helen of Troy, you know, in terms of like an ancient example. But I think this is like generally true, but it's, especially if you want to use like the last like 100 years, I think you can come up with examples.
we are completely and utterly different. Yes, it's different if a woman cheats on a man, and if a man is at a complete top level of his life and ticks every single box, and if he decides to be loyal, which some do, and I can be loyal, and I have been loyal, but there's also times in my life where I think, fuck it, I don't want to be, and get a new girlfriend every single day of the week. I can do that, and I can decide to do that. If a woman decides to do the same, purely because her value is high enough to attract so many males, because she's beautiful, for example, it is completely different. And I'm going to explain to you why it's completely different, so buckle up. It's different. It's different. It's different. Well, I'll tell you what.
I love how, look at her face. Look at her fucking face. Oh my god, she's so mad. Oh no.
It is impossible for a female to be promiscuous on a long enough period of time without devaluing herself, because she is fucking people she shouldn't be fucking. There is no way she is sleeping with endless men, and all of them are either high-value men or treating her the way she should be treated. If you find a woman who slept with 50, 100 dudes, she's either fucking dudes which aren't at her level or haven't worked hard enough to try and get the pussy. She was just too drunk to realize he's a loser who plays video games. Or...
What the f... Yo, hey, like, this is out of pocket, guys. Like, this is... I mean, guys, like, what the fuck, man? Yeah, this is not a classic Tate W.
she's fucking a top G who barely texts her back. So either way, she's fucking dudes she shouldn't be fucking, or a guy who's at the level who doesn't give her the right amount of attention. For a woman to find a guy who's truly on a level, who truly treats her the way she should be treated, that's once every couple years, if that. You ain't just gonna go out there fucking a new dude every week and say, yeah, he's worth pussy. Yeah, he treats me good enough to get my pussy. Da da da. And you know what's funny about the universe? It's actually beautiful about the universe because it's equal and opposite forces. When you devalue yourself, it's kind of like...
Well, it makes sense that women have to be more selective with mates than men do, because if a girl gets pregnant, that's like a 9-month investment. And if a guy gets a girl pregnant, that's a 9-second investment. So you just, like, if you want to use a biological argument, there's a very, very strong biological argument for this, of course, making sense. It's an 18-year investment. Hey, yo, that shit's new.
They can just look at a bitch and go, oh. And that's the way it works. So you have to be very careful as a female and sit and go, does this man truly deserve to fuck me? And if you think about it, the answer 99% of the time, especially if you're promiscuous, is no. So when a woman is sleeping around with all these men, she's devaluing herself. She's devaluing herself, and the world knows, God knows, the universe knows. When a man does it, he doesn't devalue himself at all.
It's hard for me to really say, because I think that really this is only true in the context that somebody's sexual exploits are part of their value system. So, like, for example, if somebody told me that they slept with 100 girls, this would not improve my vision of them. This would not make me think that they are any cooler or any less cool. But if you value people based off of their sexual ability or like their sexual endeavors, then yeah, of course this is true.
Just the way it works.
Can I ask you a question? Wait, Esther, 1 second. Sir, may I ask you a question? What would you say if a woman now is married to 2 men?
Haram.
Why?
No, I'll tell you why. Let's talk about this. What is the difference between a man, let's say me, I have 4 wives, right? What's the difference between a man having 4 wives and a woman having 4 men?
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time.
You can impregnate the 4 wives at the same time, and we know who.
So he's saying exactly what I did. Yeah, for sure. Devalue for him. Why is sex the most important thing in the world? Why is sex the most important thing in the world? I don't know. Why are you here? Think about it.
Parents are, right? So let's say you had 4 pregnancies, you'd know who the mother is because she's carrying the baby, and you know who the dad is, top G. If you had a woman with 4 men and she gets pregnant, who's the parents?
What about if...
No, I'm asking.
Okay,
do you know?
I ask, what if they're different races?
Answer
one white,
the
one black?
question.
You don't know.
Answer the question.
You don't know. Now, modern science can come along and maybe fix that for you, but that doesn't mean it's not wrong in the eyes of God. The idea of having a family, the idea of a child being born, one of the baselines for a new life to come onto this planet is for at least to understand who the 2 people who made it are, at least. If you have a woman fucking 4 dudes, you don't even know who got her pregnant.
So may
I don't think this is necessarily a positive, like even with like girls and guys. I'm not a big fan of this because like a guy that fucks 4 girls and then he doesn't take care of any of the kids, I think that's probably even worse than a girl that's getting fucked by 5 guys. You know what I mean? So it's like this only makes sense in the context that both the parents are like willingly present in the kid's life. 5 guys. I mean, look, I was hungry earlier, so, you know, it's the first thing I thought of.
It's disgusting.
Have you seen the twins that had 2 different dads?
Oh, yeah, I saw that. May I just say something then? So if that is the case, yeah, if the one thing that you're meant to have is, at least you know who the 2 people that put that child on earth are, then that's why promiscuity for men is also a problem, because they get women pregnant. Sometimes they don't even know they have children. That's haram, no?
Yeah, that's true.
No, it's completely different. It's different because...
I don't think it's different at all, because the thing is that whenever a guy gets a girl pregnant and then the girl has the kid, like whenever you just have a baby, you can't go and just go work and take care of the kid because you just had a fucking baby. I mean, it's common sense. So I don't think that that's a good idea, because whenever a guy does that, he's not taking care of the kid. And if he's not taking care of the kid, then society has to take care of the kid. And if society has to take care of the kid, then the man is effectively putting burdens on society because he can't control himself. That is ultimately what the outcome is. So I think that it's just as bad.
I have to understand, I'm talking about humans. You look at humans from a societal perspective, but society has changed, right? So let's say 200-300 years ago. If a woman got pregnant, she needed a man to survive. If that man didn't take care of her during pregnancy, she was going to die. She couldn't work a job, she couldn't hunt, couldn't fish, whatever, right?
Yeah.
A woman literally needed that man for survival. So if you were to come to me and say, I'm pregnant, but you've been fucked by 4 different dudes, I'd be like, who says it's mine? Why am I looking after you? None of them want to look after her. She will literally perish. This is why in most of the world today, still today, virginity is so coveted, and throughout all of history it's been so coveted, because that's the only way to ensure paternity. She's a virgin, I know that's my baby. She ain't a virgin, prove it's mine. Outside of this modern science bullshit, shaitan.
I actually never thought of that. That's a good point. Yeah, I guess that's probably why people cared about somebody being a virgin whenever they got married to them, because it would ensure that it's their kid. Yeah, I never thought of that. That's clever.
The devil we have here in the West, in most of the world today, without virginity or at least a low body count or at least anti-promiscuity, you can't tell that that's your baby. So it's a completely different thing. You're looking at the idea of a woman being pregnant and coming to a group of men and saying,
I'm not a big fan of the, you're using a lot of, like, you're using examples and logic from antiquity. Right? These are things that people did back, whenever we thought the earth was flat and this was the established science. So it's like, you can't really look at it from that perspective. And I think that really it's not that you can't make an argument in a modern perspective. It's that whenever you make a argument in modern times using ancient logic that doesn't really apply because society has changed in like a lot of big ways, I think it just doesn't really hit as well.
You has to take care of me and put up with me when I'm fat and moody and annoying and I need my bills paid. And all the men are going to sit there and go, no, fuck no, prove it's mine. You can't prove it, bounce. Where it's different. If I get 4 women pregnant, we know that
Well, I mean, that's obviously, like, what he just said is very true. Of course it's true. If it wasn't true, you wouldn't have guys on paternity court and Maury, who's the daddy, after they say it's not him, and then he starts dancing and fucking busting a move on the stage in front of everybody with all of his friends. So, like, this is clearly something that many guys think. Yeah, it's, like, I know people might pretend like, oh, no, that's not me, but maybe it's not you. But I do think that this is the majority of men in the world, yeah.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So obviously back then for survival, women needed a man. Otherwise, when they were pregnant, they could die and all of these things, they would perish. In today's society, given evolution, given the fact that as women we can go and get... Men. Yeah, but I'm not saying that. Isn't there a glitch between what is actually happening and the nature of what we have in our bodies? I think that's probably the conflict that we're having right now.
Glitch in what way?
In the sense that women don't feel like they need men in the most physical sense, perhaps like naturally.
It's very interesting. Women don't feel like they need men in a physical sense because life is soft, but it's bullshit. And it's bullshit because you still need men by proxy, 1, and 2, the second life gets difficult, you very quickly learn how much you need men. But women will go, I'm independent, I don't need no man because I have an OnlyFans and men pay my OnlyFans, and if anyone comes up to me, I'll call a male police officer. I don't need men. Shut up, you fucking idiot.
I think that that's true for guys too. I mean, you have like all the war stories. All the guys are crying out for their mom and not for their dad in like most cases. Like, so I think this is definitely a, I think like the relationship that like men and women have is very much a yin and yang situation. So whenever you view like I think that you can make this argument, sure, but I think you can make the reverse of this argument too, because it's codependent.
Of course you do. You just named your whole life is based on fucking men. The roads
I'll be very curious to see how, like in 30 years, will this still be true? Because there'll be so many advances in technology. Are we going to have like robot girls that people would rather, be attracted to? It's like there's already guys that are more attracted to anime girls than real girls. I mean, it's already happening. So I think it's only going to become more like that.
driving on was paved by a man. The house you're living in was built by a man. The car you're driving was designed by a man. Your whole life depends on men. And the second anything bad were to happen to you, the second you were physically threatened, or times were to get hard, or war were to start, or famine, or riots, the first thing you do is find a big strong man, shit yourself, and throw the feminism out the window. Feminism goes out the fucking window the second that the snow needs shoveling, or there's a fucking broken down car, or the tire needs changing. Then all that crap vanishes. It's garbage. And this is the very interesting thing. I'll make a point here, which is going to get me canceled again, but I don't give a fuck. But this is the point. Feminism in and of itself can't be defended. The point of an idea is that it can be defended by the people who believe in it. This has been the whole point of war since the dawn of time. It doesn't matter if it was the Christians against the Hindus. It doesn't matter if it was the Germans against the French. There were people who had ideas and ideologies, and they were prepared to fight each other to defend their ideology. Feminism is an ideology which cannot be defended by feminists. The only people who can defend feminism are the men who subscribe to the garbage.
I think you can make this same argument. I don't think this is a very strong argument. What he's saying is that the people that hold the idea have to be able to defend it on a physical level. Like, I think you can apply this same logic to anything regarding kids, for example. And I think also, like, just, you know, like, physical dominance over something else doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. I think that we had this happen with, like, the Dark Ages and, you know, in history, where, like, the church was in control and that's all there was to it. So I don't think that, you know, might is right. Like, this is, I think it's called an ad baculum argument. It's like the old Greek word for it. It's basically like that strength and power is basically the winning argument because of its innate strength and power, you know. And I find it to be kind of silly. And I think this is an argument that people use whenever they're not able to attack the actual points being raised. So I don't agree with this very much. Because I think that, again, like, besides, like, for example, like, disabled people would also fall under this category. Anybody who is not a military-aged, you know, like, in-shape man would fall under this category. You're proving his point? How am I? Yeah, how am I proving his point? I'm a little bit confused. How much does strength matter whenever people have guns? I think it's kind of all the same. As much as you don't agree, it's entirely true. Well, yes, of course, like, women would always, like, a woman would lose to a man in a physical confrontation probably, I don't know, 95 out of 100 times, 9 out of 10 times. Yeah, of course. That's biology. Everybody knows that. And yeah, of course. But that doesn't mean that the argument's bad. It just means that that's not the argument. It's not who's stronger. It's what is a better idea.
All the feminists were to get in a line and say, we want feminism, and the conservative men were to get in a line, you would learn very quickly it's bullshit. I had a friend in Afghanistan when Taliban kicked America out, and he told me the Americans were telling the girls they could go to school. So they built all these girls' schools, and they put the Afghanistani Defense Forces there, and they funded the Afghan Defense Forces to protect these schools. You had American satellites, you had night vision goggles. Taliban were afraid to attack. America leaves. Now you have Afghani Defense Forces. They're basically blind. They don't have satellites anymore. Don't have night vision, whatever. So now it's a real war. The men are standing next to this girls' school. The Taliban are coming. You're some dude. You're standing there, and you're looking at this girls' school going, I don't really give a fuck if girls go to school. Bounce. And you didn't fight. So that's why they all gave up and Taliban took over so quickly.
Well, I think that the reason why really is because they don't want to get shot or killed. Like, that's really the reason why. I mean, like, if fucking 25 Taliban pull up in some trucks and they have a machine gun in the back of some Toyota truck, the last thing you're going to do is try to defend a girls' school and their ability to go to school. The reality is that I don't think that the U.S. probably should have done that. I think that forcing societal and, like, cultural change actually has the opposite effect, because you're going into somebody else's place and doing something to them against their will. So I think this was a bad idea in itself.
And when I said this, the girl's like, yeah, they should have fought for us, feminism. Why don't the women fight?
Can I ask?
Oh, wait, the women can't defend their own fucking idea. You need men to defend feminism. So that's why the whole thing is stupid. Because the second men don't defend it, it just fails as a fucking ideology. It's garbage.
May I tell you something now? So this is the thing. This is when we assume that women perhaps don't have the physical or even mental ability to go to a war. Wait. Because this is the thing. For example, in Ukraine, a lot of women took up arms. And in fact, I'm Angolan. I'm Angolan. I'm Angolan. And
don't lie.
Listen,
to the people at home.
Wait, don't worry. I'll talk about my personal story.
Go to war? You want to fight the front lines?
Let me tell you something. This is the thing. I think it's also really like silly to assume that, for example, a woman, because she didn't go to school, she'll not be as intelligent as a man. Therefore, naturally.
If you didn't graduate from high school, you didn't go to high school, you take 1,000 people that graduated from high school and 1,000 people that didn't graduate from high school, there's going to be a difference between those two groups of people. Absolutely, going to school and being able to learn things in school is a very strong determining factor for intelligence. Yes, I understand that Einstein didn't learn how to talk until he was like 5 years old, but you're not Einstein. The reason why that's brought up all the time is because it's an exception. Yeah, I know a lot of people that didn't graduate from high school. They're all losers. Every single one.
And he's not intelligent. No, it doesn't make sense. If we're now starting to normalize equality and we want to put everybody in the forefront, give a woman a gun.
Who's normalizing equality?
Well, that's what people are wanting. Then that's
people
the case.
Like who?
Let me tell you, Auntie.
Who wants to normalize equality? People like who? Feminists. Who else wants to?
Well, actually, no equality. I want respect. That's really all I want.
What's stopping you from getting respect?
Exactly.
No,
I get respect.
I get respect. I get respect.
So,
that's what I want. That's what I like.
Respect.
What I think is.
You don't even know what you want.
I'll tell you what I want.
You don't know what you want. You want equality.
As a woman, I carry myself differently. I actually hold the things that I have done in the fights that I fought. I hold it. That's why when you speak to me, I don't move different. I move different to many of the girls. That's why when you talk to me and you argue with me, I don't take it. You do sometimes. And I'll tell you something. A lot of women may have the accolades to be somebody, but they are uncomfortable to own that. And the reason why, then I would like to ask you, for example, I do need a man, for example, to, you know, procreate. But other than that, I'm quite strong. And I would find a way to protect myself differently. With that mentality, what would be the man that would be for me then?
Denava, what would you do if one of these security guards broke into your door?
What would I do? Okay, I'll tell you.
Well, you just shoot him. I mean, right? I mean, that's why the gun was called the Great Equalizer. I think it's pretty simple argument. Yeah, you just shoot him. That's what we do here in Texas. It's pretty simple. So, like, yeah, I don't know where the hell they live, what the hell they're doing over there, but over here, somebody breaks into your fucking house, you just shoot them, and that's it. It doesn't matter if they're 7 feet tall or 4.5 feet tall. They're fucking dead if you hit them in the right spot. So it's, I think the argument of, like, being able to defend yourself, etc., like, this is true on, like, an ultimate level, but I think that it's more or less just it's something that sounds smart if you don't think about it.
Do? What would you do? No, seriously, there's no guns here.
She's a feminist.
I'll tell you. No, I'm not a feminist. I'm not a feminist. I'm a bit smarter.
Okay,
Either I'd play dead. One. Yeah.
Okay, they see you're not dead.
It's okay.
Just shoot him. What do you mean playing dead? What are you, a possum? Like, that's what possums. What are you talking about playing dead? Why would you randomly be dead in your own house?
No, I'd be like this, and then if not, maybe I would kind of like be very gentle and comply to find a way to get out of it. If they want to come and kill me, there's not much that many people can do.
But let's make an important point. You're talking about equality equaling respect. The way you get respect as a woman is by being feminine. There's nothing, we can be equal and very, very different. I'm not saying that there's not equality, but you've confused equality with the same. You can be equal with completely different things. You can have a bishop and a knight on a chessboard. They're equal in terms of points, but they do different things, right? A woman can have equal respect to a man if she is very good at being a woman, and a man gets respect for being very good at being a man. When a woman decides she wants to act like a man, or a man wants to act like a woman, that's where all gets fucked up. We try and pretend it's all the same. It's not.
I think that this is like, maybe you could say something like that is true in terms of like physical, like sports or something like that, sure. But I think there's a lot of things that don't really fall under the spectrum of like physical prowess, for example. So like, you know, the amount of like science has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. You know, like any sort of like teaching or developing any sort of like a computer or something like that, that has nothing to do with being a man or a woman. So I think that, yeah, sure, you can say that with sports and things that have to do with like physical ability, but there are a lot of things that exist outside of that too. Yeah, and I think that is the majority. Like things that have to do with physical ability. The truth is, like in our, you know, in our society, there are very few things that you need to be strong for. Like, what do you really need to be strong for except for a handful of jobs that, to be honest, let's be real here, are not looked at very positively. Like, if you're a construction worker, you don't have to be, yeah, you do have to be strong, but you're not respected. Construction workers are not respected at all. Let's see, what else besides that? Well, oil rig workers, they are respected, I would say a little bit, and they're paid very well, but you have to be, like, ridiculously fucking in shape for that. And it's like most people that do that can only do it for a few years. Oh, so now we're going to pretend that construction workers are respected in society? Are we playing pretend now? No, what the fuck? No, I don't think so. I think the truth is that I can't speak for every place in the world, but I can say, like, here in Austin, for example, whenever I was in school, I think it was a very common thing. How many of you guys, whenever you were in school, were told, oh, well, you know, if you don't work hard, you're going to be out there working on the side of the road? Like, did you not hear that? Like, I heard that. So how is everybody saying true, but everybody's saying not true? Because what is the logic in saying that? Think about it like this. What is the logic in saying, if you don't work hard, you're going to be out there working on the side of the street? That means that the people that are working on the side of the street didn't work hard, which also means they're not worth being respected because people that work hard are respected. It's common fucking sense. It's logic. How are we fucking denying an obvious reality? It's so silly. It's so silly. The cities are respected. Yeah, I don't understand that at all. They work hard, they get paid shit. Exactly. That's why they're not respected. It's because they don't make any fucking money. If construction workers made $200,000 a year, they'd be respected. Yeah, it's that simple. And I take true. Yeah, I mean, listen, like they do. Yeah, exactly. They do in Australia. Oh, I don't know about Australia. I'm talking about here in the U.S. Some people not respecting construction workers doesn't mean everyone doesn't, which is what you're saying. Oh, God, why are people trying to argue this? This is just like such a stupid thing that people try to argue. How is it that, like, again, how many of you guys, like, why is there such a massive drought of plumbers and electricians? It's because kids were brought up in schools to think that working and doing physical labor is lesser than doing a white-collar job. That's one of the big reasons. Like, that's why there's so many fucking lawyers and not enough electricians. Like, how many fucking examples am I going to have to use to knock sense into people that are denying an obvious fucking truth? Holy fuck, man. I think that some people are thinking that I don't respect them. What the fuck are you talking about? I've seen electricians that know more about computers and motherboards and electronics than I do. You have to know that. Holy fuck, some people are so dumb.
The same. Men and women are good at different things. We have different strengths, different weaknesses. There's nothing wrong with accepting that. There's nothing wrong with saying, I'm a woman, I'm good at X, he's a man, he's good at Y.
Yeah, it's fine.
Then we work together as a team, we have a beautiful family, we're happy forever. It's only confused where you have women who say...
I think that the problem is, like, I'm very much a traditional marriage enjoyer as well. Like, my viewpoint is that if you get married and you have kids, it's your responsibility to support your wife and help her support the kids. That's what I think is the right thing to do. Now, if she wanted to go and get a job or do something else, that's her own prerogative because she's her own person. Yeah, that's up to her. But that's what I would provide as a man in a relationship. That's what makes sense. I don't see a problem with that at all. I think that's good, and I think really, I'm sure Andrew Tate would agree with this. This is how things have always been. However, I don't think that every single other person in the world has to follow this, and it should be the only way to do things. That's the difference.
And go, no, because in the name of equality, we can fight in war. There's no fucking women on the front line in Ukraine. That is psyop bullshit. They put some chick there dancing around doing Pokemon dances to try and convince men to go fucking die in a ditch. It's garbage. If you go to the front line of Ukraine right now, you do not see women in their makeup and their manicures. You see fucking men in the freezing cold dying. You know where the women are? Dubai, chilling. That's where the women are. So to sit and pretend that women are just as capable physically as men is a fucking lie. It's delusion. To say that you're as strong as men is...
It is delusion. He's totally right about this. Men are not as strong as women. They're not as physically capable. That doesn't mean that they're lesser people. It's the same as people that are disabled, people that have different types of diseases, people that are old. It doesn't make them lesser either. Oh, sorry, I said it wrong. I have like verbal dyslexia. Sorry. Yeah, men are more physically able than women are. Yeah.
Delusion. You are good at other things. You're better than men at a lot of things, but it's not the physical world.
As many of you know, I was just banned on TikTok, and we are demonetized on a daily basis on this platform. If you want to help, please consider sending a super thanks below. Every donation helps, and it helps make what we do possible.
Well, that's nice. I mean, I'll link you guys the video. You guys can watch it and subscribe if you want. I've never seen this before. This is the first time I've seen their content. So yeah, I think this is fine. I actually appreciate content like this a lot. And the reason why I appreciate it is it's people that obviously disagree with Andrew Tate in a good number of ways. And they're bringing him on to have a conversation about it. I think this is where ideas... go to grow, and echo chambers where people only bring on other people that agree with them are where ideas go to die. So yes, I think this is a very positive thing. I think most people here were civil. Nothing was turned into a personal attack. And I think overall, this is one of the advantages to having the internet, to having social media, is the fact that people can have opinions like this and discuss the merits of each point. So yeah, I'm a big fan of this, and so I'll link you guys the video, etc. And let's see here. I'll read a few more of these. Promite Garrett, leftist propaganda is free, but right wing always wants to pay them. Wants us to pay them. I don't even know what that means. Yeah, I mean, overall, as I said, I think that the idea that feminism doesn't make sense because women can't defend feminism, I find that to be kind of silly, because you can make the same argument for rights for kids, rights for disabled people or old people, because they can't defend it either. The fact that if you can defend something, that means that you're able to... that means that it's more legitimate. I don't really think that makes a lot of sense, and I think that if you applied that logic to any other situation, it wouldn't make sense. But overall, I think that what Andrew Tate is saying here is probably the reason why a lot of people are reacting positively to it, is that there is like this idea that I think actually a very, in reality, few amount of people are pushing, that like women are just as physically capable as men, and like that's just not true. Of course it's not true, but I think that just because that's not true, it doesn't mean that like women are inferior in all of these other spectrums as well. And I think that there's a lot of things that physical ability does not really encapsulate that women can be successful in. You know, science, mathematics, any type of engineering. Like there are a lot of things in the world, like being a doctor, for example, being a lawyer. All of these things are things that women can excel at and be admired for in the same way that a man can. So it's like not everything is a test of physical prowess. The CoffeeZilla finale's out. I saw that. Let me go back over. I'll read a few more of these. Men don't do nearly as much physical labor as people think, or the petrochemical or construction sector is largely because of OSHA. Well, all I'm saying is that I think that physical labor, and I cannot speak about to every single Western society, but I can speak in a general sense in American society, physical labor is looked down on. It is not even looked down on, but it's looked on to be lesser than doing desk work or having an office job. And I think the main reason for that is because the people that have office jobs generally make more money. That's the reason why. if you made more money being a construction worker than you did being a lawyer, I think being a construction worker would be viewed more highly. But because money is clearly the biggest defining variable of social status in our culture, things that make more money are seen more positively. Things that make less money are seen less positively. It's just that simple. Yeah, Jesus Christ, some of these people smoking serious coke. Well, I mean, I think there's a lot of people who are too narrow-minded to realize that the way that they look at things is not the way that the society looks at things. And at least a large amount of society. I'm not saying everybody, but I think this is the majority opinion. Sure is. My dad's a construction worker and plumber, and he always told me to study hard and get a good job. Let me see if I can read this real quick. Get jobs. God damn it. Yeah, I don't know. It messed it up there. And yeah, he makes more money than most people I know. Oh yeah, as a construction worker. I mean, especially if you have like an actual like skilled trade, like for example, you're an electrician, you are a I don't know, you're a plumber. I think plumber's another great example, and there's probably a handful of other ones like carpenters, and these guys make a ridiculous amount of money. Like I would say that if they work a 40 to 50 hour week, I'd say a good amount of them are probably making six figures. And not only are they making, welder. I don't know about welder. I'm not sure about that. I don't know. But yeah, they make a lot of fucking money. And it's crazy because also a lot of these guys, whenever they do it for a long time, many of them start their own smaller companies where they employ 7 or 8 people, and they make even more money off of that. Most office jobs pay very bad. Do you want to know why they pay very bad? It's because everybody's trying to get them. That's why. There's only a certain amount of accountants that you need. There's only a certain amount of lawyers and bookkeepers that you need. That's the problem. Is that what happened is that, physical labor was looked down on for so long that we're in a place now where there is actually a shortage of physical labor in a lot of cases, especially skilled physical labor. And that's why it's paid so highly, is because there's a shortage of it. How do you make money? Do something that people want to give you money for. It's pretty simple. And if everybody else is doing the exact same thing, prices are going to go to the fucking floor. And if you're the only person, or you and a handful of other people are the only people, you can sell it at a bigger markup, make more money, and have a higher profit. And I'm a New York City carpenter. Working 40 hours a week is enough to clear 6 figures. You're still looked down on as some dummy for being a manual labor worker. Yeah, and I mean, listen, I think that shit's just as stupid as probably a lot of you guys do, okay? It's just as dumb, and I don't like it at all, okay? So it's just, yeah, I mean, I don't really know what else to say about that. Yeah, it's just stupid. So I'll read a few comments here, and then we'll move on. Jesus was a carpenter? Yeah, but they crucified him and shit, right? So that's not really a very good example, is it? She kept moving the goalpost, getting crushed every time. Just getting crushed. Still couldn't her own ego out of the way. That I'm not a feminist. I'm a bit smarter. Wine killed me. I've been married 40 years and concluded that no matter how stunning and brave a woman may be, she's genetically incapable of taking the garbage out. No, my mom would take the garbage out all the time. But she would never, there would be other things that she wouldn't do. She'd just make me do them. I remember that very clearly. And Brittany got so quiet we spoke about promiscuity without holding back. Well, that's because a lot of guys feel that way. I mean, how many of you guys have heard the old saying that a key that can unlock what's it called? A lock that gets unlocked by a bunch of keys is a bad lock, but a key that can unlock a bunch of different locks is a master key. Yeah, it's a very common thing. I've heard this many times. There's 100 different examples of this. Yeah, sure. It's a classic. Yeah, that's a certified hood classic. Exactly. It's dumb as fuck. It's not about whether it's dumb as fuck. See, I don't really, at least in this case, I'm not arguing whether it's stupid or not stupid. All I'm arguing is that there are a lot of people out there that hold this viewpoint and have this opinion and feel this way. Yeah, that's all there is to it. And quotes like that are examples of that sentiment. That's pretty true. Yeah, of course it is. Let's see here. And so Med Asman having a digs, Baron having a vag. Oh, I'm very glad that I'm a man. I would rather be a man than a woman. And I would hope that women would rather be a woman than a man. That's really the truth. I mean, I'm very happy that I was born a guy. I think that, I'm incredibly lucky to be a guy. And there are a lot of things that women might have advantages with, but there's also a lot of things that men have advantages with. And I feel lucky that I have the advantages that I do. Yeah, that's about it. Women want to be a man. Well, I don't know about that. I think some of them do. Same as some men want to be women, right? Like they get mad because there's some girl that has an OnlyFans that's making a bunch of money every month. And then they don't really realize the fact that, this is just simply not going to last. And even if it does and they make a ton of money and they retire, that's great. But what are you going to do? There's always going to be people that have it better off than you. Same with guys. There are guys that make that much money too, but they're not complaining about that. OnlyFans changed everything. Everyone wants to be a woman. I don't think everybody does. I think there's only some people. Do you think more people want to be men than want to be women? I have no idea. Yeah, I have no clue. If you say that you're lucky to be a man, does that mean that you're unlucky to be a woman? Well, I think, if you're born in like some of these countries in the world, I think that you can unequivocally say that you're unlucky to be a woman. Well, a woman, excuse me. Like, that's not even a question. Like, yeah, of course, because they get treated like secondhand citizens or like fucking livestock over there in some places. Yeah, of course. But over here, I think that, for example, I can feel lucky that certain things happen to me, but other people wouldn't feel lucky in that same place. So, like, yeah, I feel lucky that I'm a guy, sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I am lucky because luck is, in a large way, it's a subjective feeling. So does that make sense? In 2023, where a man could be a woman and vice versa? I mean, I don't really care about, like, any of that, like, gender identity stuff or whatever. I've never really had to deal with that, like, in real life. I think that generally my policy has always just been be polite to people and try not to be offensive and make them mad. And that's gotten me pretty far. Like, I very rarely, like, I never have altercations with people. I don't have enemies very often. I just try to, if somebody is doing something I don't like, I remove myself from the situation. And, I just try to be cordial in every circumstance. You're a born woman because you're a normal person, and that's natural selection to feel this way since you are. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of things. Like, I don't think I'm really a normal person, but I think everybody feels like they're different or unusual in certain ways. Imagine saying women should have equal rights. You imagine Andrew Tate? Yeah. I very much disagree with that. I think that women should just be treated the same, even though, like, there's a lot of cases. So if you say women shouldn't be treated the same because they don't have certain abilities, like physical abilities, how do you not apply that same logic to, like, men not being treated the same in court? Like, for example, like, men get prison sentences that are, like, way higher than women most of the time. Like, there are way more men than women in court. In every observable metric, men commit more crime than women do, basically. So does this mean that we should presuppose that men are criminals and guilty and worse than women? No, because each person is an individual, and each individual person is not a statistic. They are not a metric. They're not a number. They're an individual, and they have their own wants, desires, needs that are sometimes similar to the stereotype and sometimes not. So I think that's my viewpoint on that kind of stuff. Yeah, I think that the moment that you start legislating prejudice, this is, like, for example, like, you have white people that don't like black people. And then you have white people that don't like other white people. And then you have white people in that country that don't like other white people in the same country. Like, there's always going to be another level of prejudice that people are going to have. Like, you're never going to get through with this. It's like white, light skin, dark skin, like different types of cultures, like what language people speak, where they're from, some sort of like religious difference. Like, prejudice is, it's infinite. And it will never go away. Layers of discrimination. Yeah, exactly. Okay, I think I pretty much talked about everything I want to talk about here. I'm not legislate, but I'm not walking my dog at night to prove some liberal worldview. Well, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't go and do something that you feel like is going to make you unsafe. I don't think it's really about a liberal worldview or anything like that. I just try to look at things at what they are rather than what you want them to be. It's not about quality. It's a basic level of respect. Yeah, I think so too. It's respecting people and making sure that, people have the right to you know, pursue the things that they care about. And we need mandatory paternity tests. This will change. Mandatory paternity tests. Oh my God, bro! Like, this is holy shit. The way you get respect from women is by being feminine. I swear Mr. Tate's gonna go down in history as a legend. Oh yeah, there's a lot of guys, because the truth is that there's a lot of guys out there that they've been waiting for somebody like Andrew Tate to come out and say these things because they all knew them to be true. And I think that the more that you try to make people live a lie and make people live in a world that's not congruent to like the way that they believe that the world is, the more that the backlash is, the harder the backlash is going to be whenever it comes out. And I think that's the way you're seeing things now with things like Andrew Tate, Elon Musk buying Twitter, and like the amount of like abuse people have had to deal with because of that. And there's always going to be that happening, right? I mean, because people have been radicalized by being told that a basic biological reality is not real. So yeah, of course they're going to be this vicious about it. It's unfortunate, and that's why it's always bad to shut down other people's opinions, because, you know, as I've said, on social media, I've seen this happen over the last 10 years. I've been on social media ever since 2004 on MySpace. I've had every social media basically known to man, and I've been interacting with it for the whole time. And I can tell you that removing and banning different opinions has not helped. I don't think that it's been in any way, shape, or form productive or helpful to removing viewpoints that are deemed problematic. Bebo, well, that was like, I think wasn't Bebo like a Europe thing in like the 2000s? Wasn't that like the MySpace for Europe? That was a long time ago. Let me see if I can read the rest of these. We don't have action hero movies to look up to someone anymore, so we have Andrew Tate, Sag. Well, I mean, I think that really it's more complex than that, but I think people like this are going to be around no matter what. MySpace HTML profile editing. Oh yeah, I remember that very well. Absolutely. Nope, that always enrages them more whenever they get unbanned. Well, the problem really was that, like, I remember I saw this. This was so crazy. This was the night that they had like the 2022 midterm elections for like the Senate and the House here in the US. And I went to some random website, and I saw that like Steven Crowder was streaming it. So I go and I'm like, what's this fucking website that he's on? And I click on it, and he had like 300,000 viewers, people that are watching it. Meanwhile, like if you go on Twitch, that's more than like 4 or 5 large directories put together. And that's just one person. So yeah, it's crazy. I know it shocked me, to be honest. It absolutely shocked me. Because once you ban enough people and you ban enough opinions, then there are enough people to make their own ecosystem. And that's what they did. And not a real number? Yeah, but like that, they could say that about Twitch too. Like, I mean, that doesn't, like, you saying that it's not a real number doesn't make it not a real number. It's mostly bots though? Yeah, but people say the same thing about Twitch. What about people who didn't already feel this way, but by watching Andrew Tate with biased views, they get converted? The more platform you have, the more people you can turn. Yeah, but you can view that from both perspectives. You can view people that are like super toxic feminists, because there are absolutely like some really, really toxic feminists. So like, how can you make that argument? And also, like, where do you draw the line? Like, like, to me, obviously, I draw the line wherever I want in my own channel. But if I was going to make a rule that the entire world or the entire internet had to follow, then I would be very nervous about where I would draw the line, because I would never know if it was the right decision or not. And in a lot of these cases, you can only know this in retrospect. So yeah, it's like, oh, well, some people can be converted to this. Well, people can be converted to anything. Like by, like, for example, like how can somebody not use the logic that, oh, well, somebody can be converted if you're talking about, you know, Marx in a positive way because, you know, of Stalin and Mao. You see kind of what I'm saying? Because it was communism. So I think it's more important to talk about ideas. And I think that there is such a very high bar that an idea has to meet for me to feel like it should not even be acknowledged. Marx had some good ideas, to be honest. Most people have some good ideas. The problem is that with people that have some good ideas, all of their ideas are treated like good ideas. That's what the issue is.